Hello everyone, welcome to the Archipelago live stream. My name is Liam, one of the developers here at Archipelago, where we create Lightroom presets and creative profiles for photographers. And in this exciting stream, we're going to be taking a look at an upcoming release as part of our Quest subscription series, which is Quest 21 Wayfairer SE. This is a special edition Wayfarer extension set that explores new boundaries within the vein of the original Wayfarer presets. We've got 3 brand new color presets with AI masks included for both the subject and the background. There's a brand new creative profile called New Horizon, and also 2 simple border masks to finish off your images as well. So in this live stream, I'll be exploring that set, showcasing what it can do. And this will be coming out as part of our Quest subscription series on the 1st of November. For anyone that doesn't know, Quest is our membership for a monthly release of presets. We release a new set of presets every month, and as a subscriber you pay just $8 per month and you can download that month's preset for free. You also get access to download previously released sets as well in the archive store, many of those being exclusive to that store, and you also get 30% discount off our regular Archipelago presets. So there's lots to love about the Archipelago Quest membership. You can find out more at archipelagoquest.com. The link is in the description of this video. So yeah, this is going to be the next release, Quest 21, and it's a Wayfarer special edition set. I can see there's a few people in the chat live here already saying that they love the original Wayfarer set. So this is going to give you more of that look with a slightly different angle, some new colors in there, some slightly different tonality, like I say, a brand new profile as well. So we'll be exploring the set. But not only that, I'll be giving away a pre-release copy of these presets as well to someone that's tuned in live and interacting in the chat as we go through. So if you're here, jump in, say hello. Let me know if you have any questions as we go through and edit the images that I have today. I'll show you those in a moment. But yeah, if you jump in the chat as we go through this, we'll be picking someone to win a pre-release copy of Quest 21 Wayfairer SE at the end of the stream. So definitely stick around till the end. Keep chatting as we go through and let us know what you think. I can see a lot of familiar names in here. Thank you for joining again. I can see we've got Mary on, Chris is on. There's loads of people. There's loads of chat going on already, which is amazing. I'll try and keep up with the chat as we go through the stream, but I can see there's loads of people, which is always good. So like I said, this is going to be part of our Quest subscription series. Now, if you're already part of Quest, you'll be able to download this set as part of your subscription for free on the 1st of November. And if you're not already part of Quest and you'd like to join, it's a great time to join. Quest 20 is this month's current preset. So if you are a Quest subscriber this month, before the end of October, you can download Quest 20 Orphic, which is an amazing dark and moody preset collection that features the Mist preset, which I know a huge amount of our customers have been loving. So in our Facebook group, if you've been on there recently, it is just mist everywhere. Everyone's loving it for spooky season. So you can download that preset collection if you join Quest now before the end of October. And then on the 1st of November, you'll be able to get your hands on the set that we'll be looking at today, which is Wayfairer SE. So I've got some fantastic images to edit with today. I'll give you a little sneak peek of those there. And I can see that there's a few people on who have submitted these images. So thank you for joining. How much of the original Wayfarer is in SE, says Lucas? Quite a lot. So if you think about the original Wayfarer presets, if you already know and love those, they're quite bold, they're quite colorful. These presets definitely share that, but they explore new tonalities. Like I said, a brand new creative profile is something different than we've seen before with Wayfarer, and obviously utilizing the AI masks, which are new to the later versions of Lightroom and Adobe Camera Raw. So it's enough newness in there whilst also staying true to the original Wayfarer presets. They definitely have that tonality that you'll know and love if you've used Wayfarer presets before. I can see there's a lot of love going in the chat for the original Wayfarer set, which is great. Love to hear that. So if you are new around here, I know someone said that they were a newbie and this is the first time they've tuned into the stream, just excited to see what the presets can do. I'll just give you a rundown of how these streams tend to work. I've got these 10 amazing images here, and as we go through the stream, you're going to see in the top left of each image, you're going to see the name of the photographer who has taken the image, as well as the EXIF data, so the lens, the shutter speed, the ISO, and aperture. So if you want to know whose image it is, you'll see that as we go through. And what I like to do with these is we'll dive in and edit with the first image there, image number 1 up at the top. I'll showcase the set and kind of talk about what's included. And then from there, if you let me know which image you'd like to see edited next, you can let me know the number that you see in the thumbnail at the top left of each image. Let me know which one you want to see next, and I'll kind of go through them in the order that you want to see. And we'll do all 10 images just to kind of showcase what these presets can do in different sort of lighting conditions and, you know, different subject matter, that kind of thing. But let me know which image you want to see next as we go through. We'll kind of do them in the order of what you want to see. Elizabeth says, what does the SE mean? It means special edition. So these are a special edition set of presets. We've done a few special edition sets. We've done a Nomad special edition set. We've done an Atlas. We've done an LXCQ, which is also a special edition of LXCR. So these explore a new sort of element of that particular preset collection, but stays true to the original ones, but just something, you know, new and additional presets. So if you love that original set and you want more, you're going to get more of those presets with the special edition. Or if you haven't yet used them, you know, special edition set, if you download it and you really enjoy it, you can go ahead and use your 30% discount that Quest members get to download the original set of presets. All right, so I can see some people throwing some numbers in there already, which is great news. Thank you for doing that. I can see that number 8 has been chosen, number 7, number 5. All right, so we'll do 8, 5, 7. But first, let's take a look at the actual set itself. So I'm going to start off with this first image over here. This one by Heather Purdy. Absolutely stunning photo. Heather's work is amazing. I love using her images to test edit. So thank you so much, Heather, for this photo. And what we'll do, first of all, just going to increase the exposure on this a little bit. That looks good to me. And I think the white balance is looking good. I'm maybe just going to cool it down a tiny little bit, but not too much. And then let's take a look. So Archipelago Quest 21, Wayfairer SE. So what you'll find with these presets, because they use the new AI mask features that were introduced with the more recent versions of Lightroom, when you first hover over the preset, it might take a second or, you know, half a second or so for the preview to update to include the masks. And that's just because when a mask is included, an AI mask is included with a preset, it has to scan the image and figure out where the subject is and where the background is, that kind of thing. So what you'll see is when I hover over the image, you're going to see the preset applied, and then a second later you'll see the masks applied. Once it's done it once, it will then allow you to see the previews without it taking as long to load. But that first time on each image, it's just going to take a second for it to figure out where the images are. Mohammed, I can see you've done a nice super comment. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciated, Mohammed. You're a legend. All right, so this is the first preset. This is AQ21 Wayfairer SE, preset number 1. That's one click. This particular preset is quite neutral. You'll notice the greens are a little bit more subdued, but still very present. Skin tones look very, very nice. We've got a little bit of contrast that we kind of see with the original Wayfarer presets, but a very neutral look. It still retains blues, so you'll see as we go through and edit other images that have blues in, you can see that the blues are still retained. They're just a little bit sort of less, how do I put it? They're kind of a little bit more teal, tiny little bit more teal, and a little bit less saturation, but not loads. I know Lauren's been using this set for a lot of her work recently, and has been absolutely loving it, especially the blues when we've got like weddings with the groom wearing a blue suit, things like that. So obviously you can't see that on this image, but I'll show you that a bit later on. So that's AQ21-1 Wayfairer SE. AQ21-2, so you can see there's a big shift in the green tones here. We've got a little bit less saturation, it's more cool toned. This one also has a little bit more punch in the blues, but also in reds as well. So there's preset 1 and preset 2. Looking super nice. And then AQ21-3. And this one's my personal favorite in the set. It has a real push in the yellow tones And while it does dial back greens, it keeps them looking quite lush. So without being too neon and oversaturated, they still have that really lush look to them. So if you're shooting in a lot of greenery and you don't want to lose that, this is a great set for that. But especially those yellows, it kind of has that running through. It's very, very warm. This one does desaturate the blues a little bit more and pushes those a little bit more towards the teal side as well. But overall, a very sort of warm look. So I've been loving this particular one on a lot of my work recently. All right, so let's go ahead and apply one of these presets. I think for this, let's go for that lush green look with AQ21-3. Heather said, really dig how it tones down the yellow in the greens. Yeah, so preset 2 in this set is really good for that. Again, you've got a lot of variety when we think about the greens. You know, there is 3 presets there. The first one being very neutral, the second one being a little bit more dialed down in terms of the green tonality and the yellows, and then preset 3, which sort of keeps that looking quite rich and quite lush. So good amount of variety and opportunity within each of those. That's gorgeous. Just a one clicks this Aubrey. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Lauren says, OMG, I've used it on everything. Yes, love it. Loving the greens of 3, says Corey as well. Thanks for joining, Corey. I've got one of your images later on to use. Incredible work. Love your photos, Corey. All right, so preset 3, I've applied that one now, and you can see up here we've got the New Horizon profile up at the top of the develop module. And this is set to 100 as default. So if I dial this back to 0, what you're going to see is a shift as I go from 0 to 200, a shift in the overall warmth. This adds a little bit more of that sort of yellow honey kind of tone. And what you can also see, if I go ahead and zoom in down here, where you've got a little bit of shadow on this side and some highlights here as well as that warm toning that it offers, you're also going to see a shift in the highlights and shadows. So it just crushes the highlights a little bit, kind of backs those down, and also adds a little bit more punch into the shadows, as well as that nice warmth. And you can see how that affects things like the skin tones, the greens, and all that kind of good stuff. So I love this. This is, like I said, set as 100 as default, but you can either dial it back or increase it, which is fantastic. So for this, let's zoom back out and have a look. 0, 200, I'm probably going to increase it. I think it's just going to suit this image with that lovely greenery that we have, especially with the ferns in front of the couple here. So I'm going to set that to 139. And then we have a couple of other things in this set as well. There's a couple of tools. You'll notice there's one called subject mask and one called background mask. Now, as I mentioned before, the AI masks are included with the presets. So if I go up to the mask panel here, you can see that we have a background mask, a background yellow-green mask, and a subject mask. So they're applied as default when I apply the preset. But what I've included here is a couple of tools that allow you to adjust this a little bit easier. So rather than having to go up into the mask panel, select the layer, and then change the amount, what I've done is just created a preset that when you click it, it will do nothing at first. So if I go ahead and choose the subject mask, it won't do anything to the image initially because the subject mask is already applied. But as it says in brackets, adjust with the amount slider. And that is the preset amount slider at the top left of the presets panel. So again, this was something introduced relatively recently that allows us to dial the intensity of a preset. Chris has made a great video all about this over on our YouTube channel. So if you get a chance to watch that later, it covers kind of what this does and how to use it. Great video. But essentially what it means is when you apply the preset, you can then dial the intensity up or down. So because I've created this subject mask preset, now it's isolating the mask on its own, and I can now dial this from left for less of the effect and right for more of the effect. So with the subject mask, it's going to decrease the contrast, lift up the shadows. So if you've got a subject that's sort of in a little bit more of a shadow, or they're kind of a little bit too contrasty and you want to bring more of their, details out in the face, something like that. By increasing this, you're going to see it's going to lift that up. So if I again zoom in down here, this is at 0, this is at 200, so you can see what it's doing to the subjects. And again, that's only affecting the subjects in the image and not the rest of the photo. So for this, I'm going to actually back it off a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more contrast into them. So I'm going to set that to 74. And now I've got the background mask preset, which again is now going to isolate the mask for the background. So I can now increase or decrease that. So you can see if you want a little bit more of that kind of moody look where you darken the background down and bring the subjects out, you can bring this to the left like this. This is it set at 0. Or if you want to have that lighter area type of look, you can drag it to the right, and this is going to add a little bit more saturation. It's going to lift the shadows, bring down the highlights, and you can kind of go for that more airy look. So lots of variety. The default is very sort of neutral in terms of contrast, a little bit punchy again like the original Wayfarer presets, but now with this these mask tools that are included, you can dial this to either have that darkened background and that kind of pop of the subject, or you can have it so it's something a little bit more airy and light. So for this particular image, I think having it darker looks really good because it just brings out the emphasis on the subject. So I'm going to bring that down to 41. And let's take a look at the before and after. So here's the unedited image, and here's the edit. Again, if we go ahead and zoom in, before and after. Super nice green tones. Let me show you the side by side as well. And again, this is with AQ21 preset 3, which is Wayfairer SE. And then the last couple of tools that we have included with this is just a couple of simple minimal borders. So there's one for horizontal images and one for vertical images. And it's just a nice way to finish off your photo and give it a little bit more of that kind of finesse. So if I go ahead, this is vertical image, so I'm going to use minimal border V. And you can see it's just a nice, clean, simple white border. This suits these presets really well because these don't have any grain as default, same as the original Wayfarer presets. There's no grain included in the presets. They kind of push into that contrasty, almost modern look with a bit of an earthy edge. So again, no grain on these. And with this nice, clean, simple border, it just really pushes that look of that kind of very modern, very clean image, while still having a little bit of an earthy edge and suiting images like this where we've got a lot of nice greenery and beautiful surroundings. So there we go. I'll show you again the side by side. And let's catch up on all these comments. There's loads. Where has the preset been all my life, says Daniele Cat. Well, it's here now, so wait no more. Blown away yet again. This will be so amazing to add to the toolkit, says Aubrey. Thank you, Aubrey. AI is a game changer. My photos have come to life with these changes, says Corey. Yeah, AI has been amazing. Another video that Chris made recently just kind of covered off some of the features that have been added to Lightroom in the sort of last couple of years, which has been amazing. Like we've absolutely loved it as preset developers. It's just given us more tools to help create presets and all those kinds of things to help you out as a photographer. So we've loved these added features, and we're obviously jumping on and including those in the tools that we develop. And the AI has been revolutionary. It's amazing, you know, to be able to select the subject as easily as it does, and things like the background and the sky. And of course that was showcased in the AI toolset that we created. Again, if you don't know about that, our Archipelago presets newsletter subscribers got this set of presets for free. It's a set of tools called the AI toolset that use these new AI features to help enhance your image. And this is free to our Archipelago presets newsletter subscribers. So if you aren't already subscribed, if you go ahead and subscribe on archipelagopresets.com/newsletter-sign-up, you will be able to download this set for free. You'll get sent a link to download this set for free. And this is a list of tools to help you enhance your images that use these AI tools. So yeah, we've got those included in this new Wayfarer set as well, and they really have been revolutionary. All right, so let's crack on with some more editing. I'll show you more of this set and what it can do. So if I remember rightly, I think 7 was picked, 8 was picked. I think it was 8 and then 5 and then 7. So let's go ahead and do it in that order. So image number 8, this one here from Irvin. Absolutely stunning photo. I love this backdrop, looks very, very pretty. We've got the couple kind of coming down through here, the light coming in through the back. Looks absolutely stunning. Let's go ahead and do a quick profile correction on this. I'm going to bring the exposure up. And let's do a tiny little bit of straightening. And I think the white balance is looking pretty good. Maybe just a tiny little bit warmer. That's That's looking great. So we actually had a question on our YouTube earlier that was asking why we recommend doing the exposure and white balance adjustments first before applying a preset. Other people out there suggest doing the opposite. And the reason that we suggest that is because from our experience, when you have a neutral image, and that's your starting point, setting the exposure and setting the white balance is much, much easier to get those accurate before applying a preset. Because what happens when you apply a preset, although it doesn't affect the exposure and the white balance, none of our presets include that. Although it doesn't affect that, what will happen is all the tonality, all of the colors in the image, where the highlights are and the shadows are, all that's gonna shift and change. And then it becomes a lot harder to get the exposure right and to get the white balance right. And what you might find is skin tones are difficult to dial in, things like that. So what we found in our experience, and certainly when we've recommended this to other people, what their experience has been is setting the exposure and the white balance first on a neutral image will help you down the line to get much more consistency across all of your edits. So we always recommend do this first, then apply the preset, and then if you need to dial it from there, obviously go ahead and do that, but it really will help you to get more consistency across all of your work as you go through an edit. So always good to do that first. All right, so let's take a look. AQ21 Wayfairer SE, let's give it a second to dial in. That's looking lovely. So here, like I said, the blues, you can see what it's doing there. They're still very present. It's kind of shifting the tonality just a little bit. So the hue of the blue is shifting just a little bit, again, to kind of blend in with the rest of the look of this particular preset. Slightly desaturated, but they're still very much present and still look very natural to the actual color of the suit as it was. While still being stylistic, still having a little bit of an edge and a look to it. So that's AQ21 Wayfairer SE preset number 1. And then we have preset 2. Again, you can see what this does to the blue. It kind of shifts a little bit different from, that's preset 1. This is preset 2. Again, if there's blues in the image, I love preset number 2 when there's a lot of blue or an emphasis of blue in the image. It kind of has a slightly different look to it where the luminance of blue is brought down a little bit. Again, still has a little bit of a shift in the color, but it still looks very natural to the original image. And then of course we have preset number 3, which is that really warm tone look. And this one does desaturate the blues. So this is great if you want to kind of have a little bit of an overall warm look, but with an image like this where you have the groom with blue suit on, you may not necessarily use this particular preset because you want to keep it a little bit more natural to the color of the suit. But again, great to have the variety and the option. So for this, I'm either going to use AQ21-2 or AQ21-1. But I think 2 is looking good to me. I love both what it's doing to the greens and what it's doing to the blue suit. And I can see that Aubrey's already said I love 2 on this too. So that's good news. So we'll go ahead and use 2. Diana's agreed. Number 2, AQ21-2 Wayfairer SE. So now that I've applied the preset, I'm going to dial the exposure back just a little bit. And let's play around with the new horizon profile. So this is it all the way to the left, all the way to the right. So you can see how it's crushing the highlights. Obviously we've got quite strong highlights here. So you can see how it's crushing those, muting the image a little bit, and also adding that little bit of warmth. So I'm going to go for a slight increase, nothing too drastic, maybe about there, 128. That's looking good to me. Let's have a little look at the mask. So if I apply the subject mask, we can either drag that to the left or to the right. So I think I'm gonna leave it as it was. 100 is looking good, but I'm gonna have a play around with the background mask now. And for this type of an image, I think dragging it to the right, so I'm not gonna go all the way up, but maybe around about there. So set it to 161. This is gonna give that really nice light airy look. You can see it's brought out a little bit more detail down here in the foliage and the greens. And we've kind of just lifted those shadows up, made it kind of have that little bit of a light and airy look, which for this works really well because we've got a lot of light tones in the walls, the sky, kind of very pastel colors here as well. So I think that suits it really well. We have another play with the profile. I'm going to bring it up maybe a little bit more, 160. So here's before and here's after, and that's with AQ21-2. Increase the new horizon profile, and we've increased the background mask to give that nice light airy look. And then let's finish it off with another simple border, the minimal border V. So let me show you the side by side. Super nice. Again, if we look at things like skin tones, very natural. Very kind of pleasing to the eye. The blues in the suit looking really good. I love what it's done to the greens, especially. So the green and the blue here next to each other just looks so nice. And it's just lifted up the shadows. You can kind of see down here, they were kind of a little bit lost and a little bit heavy looking. And if we look sort of at the background there and under this archway, it's just lifted that up enough, added a little bit more saturation to the colors and given us that really nice light and airy look. Those are some rad wedding shoes he has on. Yes, agreed. I have no idea what they are, but they're very cool. This couple look like they've got good style. I love it, says Aubrey. Lovely, says Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Great editorial look, says Sean. Thank you. Really good, says Zenias. All right, that's image 8 done. So image number 5 next, then we'll do 7. Let's have a look. Okay, so gorgeous image here from Denny's Xenia Photography. Love this, got some nice backlight. You can see the kind of glow of the sun there. Love the sort of the dried flowers in the flower crown here. The outfit as well, very, very nice. So I'm gonna bring the exposure up a little bit. I'm probably gonna just back the warmth up a tiny touch, not too much. We want some warmth there because we've got that nice sunset backlight, golden hour vibe going on. Let's take a look at the presets then. So AQ21.1, give that a second for it to render. Looking very, very nice. So you can see we've got that nice amount of contrast that you get from Wayfarer. Tonalities looking natural, but it has that kind of, that little bit of an edge. This one being a very neutral look, kind of looks very consistent with the original image. But you can see sort of down here in, I think it's sand, it looks like sand or sort of like dust. You can see what it's doing there, adding that little bit of warmth. AQ21.2, again, very drastic difference with the greens in the background there. So that's 1 versus 2. And then AQ21.3. So 3 is looking very nice on this. And 1 is looking nice on this. It's between 1 and 3. What do we think? Aubrey says, I bet this will look great with 3, a bit of a warmer edit. 3 for sure, says Emily. 3, 3, 3. All right, we've got consensus, that's good. All right, AQ21.3. Let's go for it. So again, we've got the new horizon profile. I like where it's at. Let me see if I might want to increase or decrease that. I think I'm going to leave that set to 100. It's looking good to me. Okay, subject mask, let's have a look. So it does a nice job of lifting those shadows, but actually I think for this, I'm gonna decrease it just a little bit, just to bring a little bit more contrast back in to the subject. So I've set that to 86. And then of course the background mask, let's have a look. And I think I'm gonna increase it, again, not much, just a little bit, just to kind of soften up and blend these sort of tones here together, just so that we kind of really emphasize the subject. Let's take a look at before and after. This one's a Sony file, ARW. Let me show you the side by side as well. Looking very, very nice. Love what it's done to the color of the lipstick. Skin tones, again, looking very, very nice. Got that nice warm glow from the backlight. And let's go ahead and do another minimal border because I love it. Looks super nice. Very clean, very simple. There's before, there's after. So don't need to do too much to these. I think they look really nice as they are. With this one, we've used AQ21.3, left the profile at default amount of 100, slightly decreased the subject mask and slightly increased the background mask, and then of course applied the minimal border V for just that little finishing touch. Love the extra glow in the background, says Lauren. She's glowing, love it, says Corey. Gorgeous edit, says Sarah. Thank you so much, everyone. Danielle Cat says, ugh, filmic. Yes, we like. Love this preset on this photo. Thank you very much. Love what this does to the gold jewelry. Yeah, let's have another look at that. So this is before and after. Yeah, that sort of little bit extra warmth and the way it just sort of renders the contrast level does look really nice with the gold in the jewelry there. All right, so that's image number 1, image number 8, image number 5. 7 was the next pick, so let's go ahead and do that. And then if you let me know what you want to see after we've done number 7. So image number 7, Corey's. Absolutely stunning photo here, Corey. Love this one. Again, big fan of your work. I love all of your photos. They're so nice to work with. This one looks like it's shot with a Canon camera. We've got a 45mm focal length on the lens. I love this setup with the beach and kind of the couple of chairs, the way that they're positioned. Absolutely stunning. Gorgeous, gorgeous image. So this is gonna be a nice, easy one to edit. Let's take a look. So lens corrections are on already. I'm gonna bring the warmth up just a tiny little bit. But I think the exposure looks good to me. I probably wouldn't change that. Let's take a look. So AQ21.1, give that a second to render. That's looking incredibly nice. I mean, that's actually quite a big transformation in one click. Love that. AQ21.2, more cool. And then AQ21.3. I think AQ21.1 just looked so good on the one click. I'm gonna go for that. I'm gonna bring the exposure back down just a little bit. Let's have a look at the New Horizon profile. By the way, this profile works really well with the original Wayfarer presets. So because the Wayfarer presets use the what we call the defined profile, and it's actually set as 0 on the image's default. If you don't need to use the defined profile, which helps to add definition to an image, if you've already got enough definition, you don't need to use the defined profile. It's actually great to apply a Wayfarer preset, go into your profile browser and use the New Horizon profile from this set. It works really, really well with those presets. Again, just adding that little bit of warmth, making the highlights a little bit more subdued and lifting the shadows. So great tip, make sure to have a play around with that if you get hold of this set. So I've increased the profile a little bit there, 118. I'll have a look at these subject masks, see if we need to do anything here. So I think for this image, I'm going to bring the subject mask right down, and that's just so it adds more contrast to the subjects. We don't need to define them anymore. They're exposed really nicely. We've not got any sort of super deep shadows. So if we increase this, you can see it's just going to flatten the subjects a little bit. We'd actually want a little bit more dimension. So I'm going to bring that down. So that's 21. And then let's take a look at the background mask and decide what we want to do there. We can either decrease it for more sort of like emphasis and contrast on the background, or we can increase it for sort of that lighter look. I think having now added more contrast to the subjects, I'm probably going to increase this so it has a little bit of a lighter look to the background. And that's just really going to make the subjects pop. So I'm going to go back there, 147. So let me show you there's before. And there's after, and that's with AQ21.1 Wayfairer SE. We've increased the profile just a smidge. We've decreased the subject masks to bring contrast back into the subjects and increase the background mask to give that kind of softer look to the background. And then of course we can go ahead and finish that with the minimal border H, which is for horizontal images. And this has a real nice editorial look to it. Again, gorgeous photo from Corey. Thank you so much for letting us use this one for the live stream. Such a fab edit already, says Lauren. Nice photo, Corey, says Liz. Love this photo. We're getting a lot of love for your photo there, Corey. Corey says it was a foggy day at the beach, so the dreamy background looks amazing. Yeah, definitely. I think having that sort of kind of opportunity to decide exactly what level of contrast you want in the subjects and separately in the background is so good, because it just means no matter what the kind of shooting situation is like, or whatever your taste is going to be for that particular edit, you can kind of dial it one way or the other, which is good to have. All right, let me show you the side by side there as well. Look at that. Amazing photo. I love this sort of very minimal color palette here as well. We've kind of just got some warm tones in the sand, in the chairs here. And then obviously just the kind of gray of the suit, which is warmed up with the preset. Love that. Sean says, this image is everything. There you go. All right, cool. So did anyone throw any numbers? Image number 2, I reckon 2 will suit this for the blue. Stunning. Yeah, nice. Emily says 4 or 6. All right, so let's do 2 and then 4 and then 6. Aubrey said, thank you very much. Aubrey says 4, 6. Yeah, cool. Perfect. Let's do image number 2 and then image 4 and then image 6. All right, so another one from Heather here. Again, can't say enough good things about Heather's work. Absolutely gorgeous. Love this photo. What an amazing scene. I've got this amazing coastline with the rocks here and the wave, and this huge dramatic wave crashing just behind the couple here, who are sat in amongst the nice yellow flowers. And of course, we've got a yellow sweater on there as well. So yeah, love this. What a gorgeous image to start with. Just going to bring the exposure up a little bit just to make sure we've got a nice exposure on the subjects there. And I think maybe a tiny increase in the warmth, nothing too drastic. Okay, let's take a look. AQ21-1 Wayfairer SE. Again, what an amazing transformation. The masks working their magic there, as well as the tonality of the preset itself. Now, one thing that I love about this particular image is you can see, because of the way that the masks work, you can see the sky over here looks almost blown out in the original image. It's not, you can see that the data is still there, but you can just about make out that there's a few clouds in the sky up here on the unedited image. But if I go ahead and hover over the preset again, you can see how it brings out the detail in the sky, just kind of recovers that a little bit whilst lifting up the shadows and obviously letting you see the subjects nice and clearly. So that's AQ21-1, AQ21-2, and AQ21-3. Now, I think this is going to be a tough one to decide. I think there's something about AQ21-2. I like the cooler tones. I kind of offset against the rich sort of reddy orange tone here and the yellows and the flowers. So I'm going to go for AQ21-2. I'm going to play around with the New Horizon profile. So I'm going to bring that up a little bit, not too far. Set that to 132. Subject mask, I think we're looking fairly good already. You can see this is it at 0, this is it at 200, just what it's doing in terms of sort of shadow recovery and bringing out detail in the subjects. So I'm going to leave that at 100. I think that was a good amount of exposure there on the subjects. But now I can play around with the background mask, and we can either go for that sort of darker edit, or we can push it all the way up, and you can see again with the sky what it's doing. This is it at 0 and this is it all the way up at 200, so it's kind of bringing out the detail here whilst also bringing out the detail in the shadows down here as well. So again, that's at 0, that's at 200. I think I'd probably go all the way up, maybe close to all the way up. So I'm going to set that to 274. Let's just bring the exposure up a tiny touch and maybe add a little bit more warmth. That's looking lovely to me. So here we go. This is the before and after, and that's with AQ21-2. Slight increase in the profile. We've used the AI masks that are included with the preset to get the kind of right balance between the subjects and the background, so we can see the subjects nice and clearly in the center of the frame here. Plenty of definition and detail there, whilst also pulling out more of the information down here at the front of the frame and also up here in the sky. So again, if we go side by side, on the left you've got the unedited image, and on the right you've got the Wayfairer SE edit. Chris says, Heather, I have to say this image is very purdy. Terrible, terrible jokes from Chris there. Thank you, mate. Obsessed with the way the preset plays with the natural tones of our coastline. Great news, Heather. Thank you. Shazam, says Corey. What a color pop with the yellow, warm and dreamy. Yeah, I love it. So there you go. You can see the definition of the sky there. If I come back down here, you can see there's nice yellow flowers, what it's doing. I like the sort of more turquoise look of the water in comparison to the original there as well. And there's the subjects. Again, nice amount of definition and detail on the subjects because of that built-in subject mask. If I turn that off, that's how the image would look without. So it just lifts it just enough to give plenty of definition there. And again, if we wanted to, we could use the minimal border H for that nice, simple, clean look to finish the image. And again, here's before and here's after. Gorgeous, gorgeous photo, Heather. Thank you so much. Aubrey says, following you, Heather. All your work is so stunning. There we go. Amazing. Ah, it's Big Sur. That is a place that has been on my list for a good while. I would love to visit Big Sur. It looks absolutely stunning. Looks like it has the most amazing light and scenery, so I'm very jealous. All right, so King of Edits, says Daniele Cat. That's what we want to hear. Thank you so much. How do you create a simple border like that? You create it by getting hold of this preset collection and clicking the minimal border button. And that's going to apply the nice minimal mask. You can use it on anything. It is just the border itself. It's a mask within here that I've created. So you don't necessarily have to use it with this preset collection, but it's worth getting hold of this collection, even just for the tools that are in here, including the minimal borders. Larissa says, I want to know how to create a border as well. I'm not telling you, it's a secret. I'm joking. It's just using the mask tools within Lightroom. So in here you can create a mask, and you can obviously either paint things in, or you can use graduated filters, radial filters, all that kind of stuff. So it's essentially built using the tools that are there in the mask panel, but I've done all the hard work and created the border itself for you. So with this preset, you can just one click apply it. So there you go. One nice little trick as well is when you go into the actual mask here, you can select one of the borders and you can move it around. So if you want to resize the border, you can do that, which is quite nice. All right, so let's have a look. Liam out here giving away trade secrets. There you go, little insider info. All right, so what do we say? We said 2, then 4, then 6. So let's do 4 next. Cool, so we've got this image here from Francesco Rossi. Gorgeous photo. Francesco's work is really, really nice. With this one, we've got quite an underexposed image to start with, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the exposure up a decent amount. And we do need to adjust the white balance, add a little bit more warmth back in there, I think. And maybe increase the magenta just a little bit. Yeah, that's looking good to me. All right, so AQ21 preset 1. That looks very, very nice. So there's before and there's after. AQ21 2. Looking good on this. I think it's a little bit too cool for this image. And then AQ21 3 looking nice with that warmth. Again, this is a little bit of a backlit image by the look of it, so it does work well with the added warmth there. But I think I'm tempted by the tones of AQ21 1. It has a little bit more magenta in, which I'm liking in this image. New Horizon profile. Let's have a look. Increase that a decent amount, maybe about there, 147. So that's just kind of gonna a little bit soften up the kind of highlights, give it a little bit of that kind of almost blooming look to it, which is nice. Let's go ahead and play around. I'm going to do the background mask first because I think this is going to dictate which way I go with the edit. Yep, I'm going to definitely go for this cranked up nice and high. And then let's apply the subject mask and see where I want this. I'm also going to bring this up a little bit as well, I think. So I want to keep a good amount of contrast there. I've increased it just a little bit, set it to 111, so just a tiny increase just to make sure that we've got enough kind of detail on the subjects there. That's looking good to me. Now the only other thing I think I'd do with this is probably just boost the contrast just a little bit more. There we go, somewhere around there. So this is before. Obviously quite an underexposed image, so it's going to be very different in terms of the before and after, but we've obviously increased the exposure, corrected the white balance, and then we've applied AQ21 preset number 1. The new horizon profile increased to 147, and then we've used the AI masks to adjust the level of background and foreground, or background and subject rather. And then let's go ahead and finish it off with the horizontal border there. There we go. Really, really nice. Love this photo. I love particularly the way that the this kind of rock here meets the corner of the image, especially when the border's on there. It's nearly perfect. Love the color in the trees. You can't really even see that in the original image just because of the exposure, but love the warm colors in the leaves of the trees here. The only other thing I would do is I'd press the Q button, which will open up the updated healing tool, and I'll probably just remove this. So I'm just going to click on that. And I'm just going to do a tiny little bit of a heal on this just because my eye's being drawn to that. That'll do for this. There we go. So there's before and there's after. And again, I'll show you that side by side. Go ahead and zoom in on the subjects here. Super nice. Got that nice warm tone in. And again, if we go up here, you can see how it's just brought out the orange in the leaves there. Kind of kept the sky nice and subdued, but brought all the details out in the foreground here. Aubrey says, can't get this soon enough. Wow, what a shot, says Heather. My toddler just walked over and said, oh, pretty. So you've been toddler approved. Yes, that's what we want. Thank you, Emily. Toddler approval is always good. All right, so we're getting there now. We've got 3 images left. So I'm going to rattle through and edit those 3 images. And then, of course, like I said at the start of the stream, we'll be giving away a pre-release copy of these presets. So if you've been tuned in and interacting in the chat as we go through this, you're in with a chance of winning, getting your hands on these early, so you can show off and edit and throw your images in the Archipelago Collective Facebook group before everyone else gets their hands on this. Bragging rights are always nice. So yeah, do stick around. Make sure you keep interacting with the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you think to the edits. I love what this set does to the skin tone. So natural, but just makes them look amazing. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sarah. All right, so next image, we've got this one from Gail. We've got an indoor image here. Love this setup. And I actually realized when I was going through picking the images for this stream, I recognized a lot of the locations that Gail was shooting at and realized that a lot of them are quite close to where I am. So I'm based in Sheffield in the UK, and it seemed like a lot of the images were around Manchester. So I think Gail's probably quite close to where I am, which is cool. It's always nice to recognize locations near you. So I'm just gonna get the exposure set right. This has got a little bit of vignette going on. So I'm just gonna apply the lens correction. So I think that's looking good to me. Yeah, somewhere around there. Let's take a look. AQ21-1 Wayfairer SE. There we go. So that's without, and that's with 21-1. Looking very good. AQ21-2. A bit more of a punchy look, definitely more cool toned. And then AQ21-3. Ooh, it's a tough one. It's gonna be between 1 and 3. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know, 1 or 3. What do we think? Mohammed on it again with the super chat. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Absolute legend. We appreciate you. This is such a dreamy image straight out of camera, says Emily. It certainly is. Gail's on here as well. Yes, I'm based in Manchester. I thought so. Yeah, I recognise a few of the spots. So it's good to see. Love your work, Gail. Thank you for joining us. Wow, this is perfect on this. And then let's see what we're saying. 3, 3, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1, 3, 3. Okay, so I'm not sure which to go for. I think 3 had maybe slightly more votes. Let's go for 3. But it was a tough call. All right, New Horizon. Let's have a look at the profile. I would probably maybe either leave it at default or back it off just a little bit on this, I think. So I'm going to set that to 66. All right, let's take a look at the subject mask. So I'm going to bring it back down just a little bit. Set that to 87 just to add a little bit more contrast back into subjects. And then background mask, we can either go for something where it's a little bit darker or we can go a little bit lighter. I think for this, go for a little bit darker and let the subjects pop out a little bit more. And if I bring the exposure up just a tiny little bit, I think that looks good to me. Let's finish it off with the border there. That works really well on this. I love the, well, there's so much to love about this image, it's gorgeous. But I love this kind of, it almost looks like gold leaf kind of falling down in front of them, which is amazing. Love their outfits. I love the background with the green, but I especially love this little red arrow popping in from the side, pointing towards the subjects. Very, very cool. So let's take a look. This is before, and this is after. Looking incredible. Go ahead and zoom in. There we go. Let's see side by side. Let's take a look at the colors in the background there. You can see what it's done. Inspirational editing from you. Oh, thank you, Gail. Inspirational photography from you, so thank you. Incredibly beautiful. Gorgeous. Yeah, lots of love for the image. There you go, Gail. Incredible work. Totally perfect edit, says Taylor. Thank you so much. What's falling in the image, Gail? Let's have a look, as Gail said. Yeah, let's find out what's falling. I think it kind of looks a little bit like gold foil or gold leaf. It's very pretty either way. Love the skin tone, says Diana. Thank you so much. Yes, lovely, lovely. Oh, it's confetti, says Gail. So it's just confetti. Kind of has a little bit of a gold kind of look to it, almost like it's shiny. It's very, very cool. I would cry in a good way if these were my wedding images, says Emily. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yes, Emily, me too. Diana also agrees. All right, so let's get these last 2 images done. We're coming up to the hour now. So this one here from Cassandra. Love this photo. We've had this in our bank of images for a little while now. Every time I kind of scroll past it in the Lightroom catalog, I always think that this kind of series is really, really pretty. I love the styling of it. Right, so get the exposure right. I'm gonna slightly increase the temperature. That's looking good. Let's take a look at AQ21.1. There we go. It's a very sort of rich kind of color toning, especially in the wood. AQ21.2 and AQ21.3. I'm going to go for 1 on this, I think. I like what it's doing with the yellows in the t-shirt. I like what it's doing with the wood. I'm going to bring the exposure up a little bit more. And then let's go ahead. I'm going to do the background first because I'm just going to decide if I want to go dark or light. So I'm just going to also enable profile corrections. Doesn't look like there are any, so that's all good. All right, so background. I'm going to go all the way up, but I'm going to dive into the mask for background. And I'm going to bring the saturation down. I think around there looks good to me. Then let's go ahead and do the subject mask. Yeah, so I'm going to bring that up a bit. Just if you take a look, this is it at 0, just to make sure that we're not getting kind of too dark shadows on the subject's face. That's looking good. So I've set that to 126. I just need to straighten this up a little bit more now. I can see the background properly. Maybe around about there. Yeah, that's looking good to me. So here's before and after, and that's with AQ21.1. We've left the New Horizon profile at 100. But actually I think I'm going to crank that all the way up to 200. I just love what it's doing with the warm toning, just kind of making a little bit more of a creamy look to the whites in the trousers here and in the cushions behind, and just adds a little bit more warmth to the t-shirt. And I just love how it's rendering the shadows and highlights as well. So New Horizon cranked all the way up. That's preset number 1, Wayfairer SE. We've increased the subject profile mask a little bit there, and increased the background mask, and just adjusted the saturation a little bit as well. And minimal border. There we go, that's before and after. Killing it again with this edit. Thank you so much. The preset does not have grain. Yeah, that's right. So these presets, like the original Wayfarer set, doesn't have any grain as default. So if you like grain, obviously go in and add that, or jump into one of the other sets and add some grain from some of the tools in the other sets. But the kind of look that these offer is that sort of like contrasty, a little bit more modern, but with an earthy edge. So by not having grain, it kind of helps give that look and emphasize that kind of very clean palette. I swear Archipelago presets and wooden floors is perfection. There we go, Melanie. Making all of your wooden floors look better than ever. Cannot get over the skin tones with this set. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Aubrey says, I think it's definitely my new favorite set. Yes, that's what we want. Thank you, Aubrey. Imran says, would love the subject masks work on other preset collections. So yeah, that's the other benefit of having these as separate presets here. What you could do is you could go ahead and edit this with any preset from Archipelago presets, and then just go into this set and apply the subject mask and the background mask, and then you can go ahead and dial those from there. So you can use these masks in conjunction with other presets. That's another reason why I create them as separate to the actual preset. So they apply within the preset, but then we have the separate versions to allow you to dial them and of course mix and match with other presets as well. All right, so, oh, we've got 2 images left actually. I forgot this last image here, number 10. Let's do that one next, because I think this is gonna be a nice, easy image to edit. This one by Adita. Adita's work is absolutely fantastic. I'm gonna bring this down on the exposure, add a little bit more warmth to the white balance. Yeah, Adita's, I'm not sure, I can't remember what Adita's Instagram handle is, but their Instagram is absolutely stunning. Their work is amazing. I think it's something like Ms. Self-Portrait, something like that. It's amazing though. If you search for Adita Gupta, the work is incredible. AQ21.1, AQ21.2, and AQ21.3. I'm going to go for 2 on this, but I'm going to increase the New Horizon profile a little bit for that extra little bit of warmth and contrast. I'm going to bring the temperature up a tiny bit as well. And then let's have a look at the subject mask. So you can see here, that's at 0, very sort of contrasty. You're losing a little bit of the detail. It's a little bit too oversaturated on the subject, but if I bring this up, you can see how it recovers that nicely. So I'm going to bring that up, probably going to go a little bit higher, so like 140, and then bring the overall exposure back down to compensate. And then with the background mask, I'm going to decide, I'm probably going to keep it relatively neutral. I'm going to go for 132, so a little bit of an increase just to kind of balance that out. So that's looking super nice to me. There's the minimal border for vertical images. There's before, there's after. That's with AQ21.2, New Horizon profile increased. We've adjusted the AI masks and applied the minimal border for vertical images. There's a side by side. See the colors there. I love what it's doing to the kind of magentas, the pinks here in the outfit, in the makeup. And then of course the green tones in the background there as well. There we go, so Edita's on here. So yes, that's your handle, Ms. Self-Portrait. I thought I remembered it rightly. Amazing. Yeah, Edita's work, you need to go and check it out. It's absolutely stunning. The whole Instagram feed is incredible. Always such gorgeous work, Edita, says Lauren. Such a beautiful image, says Mohammed. Love it. The colors are perfect, says Aubrey. New follower, there you go, Edita, you got a new follower in Corey, whose work is also exceptional. Can't wait to use these presets, says Diana. All right, so I've kept you all waiting long enough. Let's get this last image edited, and then we'll announce a winner for the pre-release copy of these presets. So if you are eager to get your hands on these, you'll be able to potentially get these early. We'll announce a winner for that shortly. If not, 1st of November is not too far away. If you're a Quest subscriber, you're going to get this preset collection for free as part of your membership. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that now so you can get hold of Quest 20 Orphic with the amazing Mist preset. And then on the 1st of November, you'll be able to get these Wayfairer SE presets as part of Quest 21. All right, so another image here from Gail. This one is so pretty. I'd love to know the location of this, Gail. The amazing glass house in the background. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and increase the temperature just a little bit. That's looking good to me. I'm going to take a look and see if we need lens correction just a bit. I'm going to bring the vignette back though because I want a little bit of that. Looking good. All right, so AQ21-1. Give that a second to render. That's looking incredibly nice. I'm just going to bring the exposure up a little bit actually on this. So AQ21-1, AQ21-2, and AQ21-3. I think 3 is what I'd pick for this. What do we think though? So this is preset 1, preset 2, or preset 3. Diana says 3, Gail says 3, 1, 1, OMG 3, oh I love 1, I love 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, loads of 3s. There's loads of 1s as well, a few 2s. All right, let's go for 3. I think that is the most popular one there. So let's take a look at the profile. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'm gonna crank this all the way up. Again, I love what it's doing with the highlights in the dress here. I love what it's doing with the sort of dimension of the subject's features here, with the way it sort of shifts the highlights, and of course the nice extra bit of warmth that we're getting there as well. So I'm gonna crank that all the way up to 200. All right, so let's go ahead and use the subject mask. Bring that up a little bit, and then background mask. I think I'm gonna go up a little bit, and then maybe bring the overall exposure just down a tiny touch. I think somewhere around there looks really good to me. So there's before. Obviously done a little bit of a lens correction, so the distortion's kind of lessened a little bit there as well. Increased the temperature, and then we've applied AQ21-3, cranked the New Horizon profile all the way up to 200, and then we've used the AI masks to adjust the background and subjects. And let's go ahead and finish this one off with another border H, nice simple clean border there for that lovely editorial look. There's the side by side. I love what it's done to the sort of color in the reflection here. It's kind of gone from a blue tone to having a little bit more sort of like green in there. Nice warm toning in all of the stonework. Skin tones look really nice. I love the pop of red in the lipstick here. And again, what it's done to the highlights in the dress. You rock with your edits. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Beautiful, says Alexandra. Crank it, yes, says Lauren. Always crank it. The highlights look so creamy, says Elizabeth. Love the green tones in the windows. Thank you, Gail. Yeah, I think that looks really, it adds a little bit of like a dreaminess to it, especially like here where you can see the plants through there. Very, very nice. Just scrolling back just to see if I've missed anything. Oh wow, Gail, this image is so gorgeous, says Chris. Could not agree more, Chris. It's amazing. This live stream helped me power through the last of a wedding gallery thanks to the endless inspo. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate that. Leslie says, you've made me feel so much better about how easy it is to apply these presets and get the look you want. Yes, definitely. That's what it's about. You know, we create these tools to, number one, you know, inspire you in your kind of creativity when it comes to editing. You know, if we give you tools that inspire you to kind of create the images that you want to create, but also make your life easier. You know, if it gets you most of the way there, once you've adjusted the exposure and the white balance, apply the preset. If you're going to get, you know, 90% of the way there in one click, that's fantastic. And then with the extra tools that we provide, both in the sets and things like the AI tool set, that kind of thing, to help you finish the image off. That's really what it's all about. And that's really, if we think about, you know, Quest as a membership, like I said before, that's our subscription series where you can subscribe for $8 per month. Really, that's what that is all about. It's about providing those tools, pushing the boundaries of creativity, innovating, using the tools that Adobe supplied to us in this software to allow for, you know, new revolutionary ways of editing that both inspire us as photographers when it comes to doing the job that we do, but also achieving the results that we want to achieve. And, you know, a new set of presets every month and access to all of the back catalog through the archive store, you know, it gives you so much to go at, so many options and opportunities to kind of expand your horizons, let's say. All right, so you've made me feel, yeah, that's good news. Cannot wait to add these. They are truly my favorite so far and closest to my style. That's amazing news. Thank you so much. So we're at the end of the stream. In fact, let's just do a nice little overview of all of the edited images. There we go. So that's all of those images edited with Wayfairer SE. We'll be announcing a winner in the chat in just a few moments for the pre-release copy of Wayfairer SE. But like I said before, these are coming out on the 1st of November. So if you are a Quest subscriber, you'll be able to get these for free as part of your subscription. Subscription is just $8 per month. So if you're not already part of that, do go ahead and check that out, archipelagoquest.com. The link is in the description. Melanie says, I want to see one close-up. I missed it. That's not a problem at all, Melanie. Let's jump into that. This one by Heather here. So there's the side-by-side for you on that first edit with all the greens. Oh wait, let me switch my screen. That would help, wouldn't it? There we go. That's image number one. Nice little close-up there. Gorgeous photo by Heather. And there we go. Lauren's announced the winners of the pre-release copies of Wayfairer SE. So Larissa, Emily Morrison Photography, and Danielle Cat, you're all getting a pre-release copy of Quest 21 Wayfairer SE. If you just reach out to us on the email that we've put in the chat there, we'll get that sorted out for you. You can claim your prize, get your hands on these early. Do jump into the Archipelago Collective Facebook group and share those edits. We'd love to see those. I'm sure people that are excited for the set would love to see them as well. But thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. It's been an awesome stream, as always. If you are new to our YouTube channel, go and check out some of the other content we have on there. We've got some tutorials, editing tutorials. We've got a Lighthouse series, which Chris makes. A fantastic look at how to use light in different scenarios. There's lots and lots of content on there, as well as other live streams that we have as well. So definitely go and check that out. Make sure you subscribe. Give this video a like as well before you go anywhere. That will help more people to see the video. Congratulations coming through on the chat there. Great job as always. Thank you so much, Sarah. Appreciate that. Amazing. So that'll wrap it up for this stream. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I'll see you in another one.